Hi, everybody.
Hi, guys.
I'm Andy. This is Jennifer
Smith. We're the Smiths.
We're the Smiths. And we're here early tonight because I'm feeling rebellious. I don't like changing the clocks back and forth. And so really, if we had not changed our clocks, this would be more of the normal time that we would get on and do this about 7 o'clock. But we're early because I guess we're rebellious tonight. So.
And it looks dark out that window. You know, when it looks dark outside, you're like,
it looks late already.
Time to go to bed. It's just, you're tired. So, hey, we're going to talk about something kind of interesting tonight. So I'm going to start.
Only kind of interesting.
Actually, it's really interesting. It's very fascinating. Okay, so we're going to talk about something important, and then, as I always, have at least one amazing tip for you. So make sure and listen to the end to get that amazing tip. Okay. The other day, I was speaking with a friend, and I was telling her how the gardening job that we do together during the summer and during the fall, how that job felt boring to me. Some days when I go there, like, it's kind of monotonous, right? Like raking leaves or pulling weeds, and it can feel boring.
No. There's
it can be really boring.
No way that gardening is boring. I love it. There's never a dull moment. I mean, there's always something that needs your attention and needs your help to look better. Whether you're getting a few weeds out, or you need a little fertilizer or water, or maybe something needs to be divided and transplanted, or pruned and trimmed, and just, wow, there's just like all kinds of stuff all the time just to keep it looking amazing, and that is just totally fun, not boring.
But it can be boring. And just in case our bosses are listening, let me tell you, I actually do like the job. So listen a minute so you understand the point here, okay?
What's the point here?
Can be boring. It can be monotonous, right? You're kind of doing the same thing over, like deadheading flowers, especially like the rose bushes, like over and over and over. However, I am here to say that boring can be good. Boring can be a really enjoyable thing, and especially with gardening, it can be relaxing. So even though I told my friend, it's kind of boring, I said it's boring in a good way, because I'm out there.
Boring in a good way.
I'm out there in the sunshine, well, except when it snowed on us, or we got rained on. But anyway, usually in the sunshine, right? And even just like deadheading the roses, very monotonous, but you can relax. And it's kind of a slower pace of life. I mean, you think about people back in the olden days who, a lot of them, had their own little gardens at home, and they were farmers and that type of thing, and they had to provide for themselves, and life was a lot slower. So I am here to say, with holiday time, and the hustle and bustle of that time of year.
I get what you're saying.
You do? Oh.
I get it now.
Oh, good.
You've been around the kids and the grandkids too much. And
I have.
And so she's doing that thing with words where, like, bad is really good.
Oh, that's confusing. Yeah, when they're like, that's really bad, I'm like,
what's bad about
what?
that? No, I like it. I like it when it's bad. They're saying good, right?
Yeah, okay.
How
I
people
got
do
it.
that. So that's
boring,
what she's doing. Boring is really enjoyable and relaxing. I totally agree. Gardening is enjoyable and relaxing and fun. So if that's what boring means, then yes.
So do something boring, right? Like, so holidays are oftentimes a lot more than boring. Like, they're crazy busy, but hopefully fun. Like, they're joyous times, but they can be overwhelming. And we can have a ton of stress, right? Especially if you're a parent, you have children at home, and just everything that comes with holiday preparations and things. And life in general can be really stressful and overwhelming. So I'm here today to help you think about what is the best gift or present that you might give to your spouse, to your children, to those that you love and care about the most, And that gift would be to be present in each moment. Slow down your life enough that you don't go into overwhelm mode, because that can be bad, right? Too much stress and overwhelm mode.
And stress.
And that can really hurt relationships.
So here we can jump in and do a mini brain science lesson, just a review. I know a lot of you kind of are familiar with a lot of the information out there about what happens in the brain, chemically, emotionally. So there's many parts of the brain. We're not going to diagram it and draw it out and get all technical, but we have the frontal lobe. You know, they call it the frontal lobe because it's right here in front. It's the big part. That's where your values, your logic and reasoning, creative problem solving, all of those functions happen here in the frontal lobe, and a lot of times people just call that the thinking brain. Another part of the brain that seems to oppose our thinking sometimes is our feeling brain. And sometimes it's referred to as the midbrain or the animal brain, because that's the part of the brain where it's just
or the monkey
emotion.
brain.
Emotion is there. And it's really, some think it's from prehistoric, whatever, evolution. It was really used for survival. It's the part of the brain that kicks in when there's a need to fight, flight, or freeze in order to preserve life. And so those are its basic functions, and so it's sometimes referred to as the animal brain, but it is midbrain. It's a little piece back in the middle of the brain, but it controls our feelings. And so when you feel intense emotions, that's the part of the brain that is working. And we really want the feeling brain and the thinking brain to work together in balance. And when that does, we are having inspiration and clarity and doing good things. And good emotions, happy and peaceful and those kinds of things, keep us connected in balance. But when we're getting a lot of stress and overwhelm and anxiety and those kinds of things, those disconnect from the thinking brain. And when the thinking brain shuts down and we're operating only out of the fight, flight, freeze part of our brain, those intense emotions, we're not making good decisions. We end up thinking, doing, and saying things that hurt our relationships. So that's why watch out this time of year.
and yeah, so we literally are out of our mind if we get back into that animal brain. We are not in control, and we're not going to make the decisions that are going to create happy, joyful relationships, right? And so we all have the same amount of time every day, and most of us have a lot of control over what we do. Now, yeah, we might have our jobs that we go to, things that take up the big bulk of our day, but there's other parts of our schedules that we have a lot of control over. And so this is what I'm going to challenge you, is to maybe, with my tip today, is to create some white space in your schedule. And you might think, white space, what is that? Like the snow that's coming?
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of white space coming up.
Yeah, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. So in culinary school, it's really cool because they teach the students in culinary school, when they plate the food, and they want to place it and make it look beautiful and put the little garnishes and whatever to make it look really appealing. They teach them in culinary school to leave some white space on that plate, and psychologically it's more attractive, it's more calming, it makes the food taste better. And so if we
unless you're really hungry, and I think a full plate without space looks better to me.
Well, maybe we need a really large plate for you with the white space, so you still have lots of food, okay? But in our lives, if we can create some white space, then as we go along about our day, we're less likely to get stressed because we have packed so much into our day that we go into stress and overwhelm. And of course, holiday time, super easy to do.
I really like that analogy, because if you notice, clutter in your physical environment does not create good energy and good flow of things. And stress, overwhelm, anxiety, depression, anger, all those things that come up, is just like a huge mental, emotional clutter.
Yep.
And you just don't have good flow of energy. So I really like creating space so that you've got good flow of stuff.
Yeah, so whether it comes to plating your food or cleaning out the junk out of your house like we've been trying to do lately, or in your daily schedule so that you can have healthier relationships. So I have one tip for you tonight, and I think it's a great tip. And let me look at my notes. So find one thing that you can cut out of your schedule that is not really a priority in your life, but some reason you're just doing that one thing a lot, or take that one thing and greatly limit the time that you spend on it. And you might want to think, what are my priorities in my life? Maybe you need to make your priority list. Like, our lives change over time, and that is something, especially with the new year, to be thinking about what really are my priorities? Where do I want to spend my time? And realize that there might be something you can cut out or severely limit the time that you're spending.
I think priority is really a key word to focus on here with what you cut out, because I know we tend to think everything we're doing is super major important. But if you are starting to feel some disconnection in your relationships because of the stress, the overwhelm, the anxiety, everything that can happen, especially compounded this time of year when we're supposed to be enjoying our family so much, and all of these things on the to-do list that we think are going to create joy, and it's creating stress and anxiety instead, that really is telling you, prioritize. Something needs to go. Don't let your relationships go. Don't do that. Don't sacrifice your relationships for everything else that feels like that it's so important. Put relationships at the top of the list, and then prioritize down from that. And yeah, there could be something that either needs to go or at least scale back.
So I'm going to give an example, and it's because of the gardening, right? So in the summer, we garden together, and it can be 10-hour days. And another thing I loved about that was I didn't have as much time to be on social media and scrolling Facebook, which, if you're watching this, you're on Facebook right now. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
We're glad you're here.
We're glad you're here. We hope that you're learning something to help strengthen your relationships. However, sometimes social media can be too much. And so I actually liked the fact that I was gone for 10 hours a day, and I came home, and if I'm thinking about my priorities, I'm not going to come home and spend half my night on social media, because it's like, we're going to have dinner together, we're going to do something else fun for the night, and that needed to take a lower priority for me. So we invite you to take a look at your priorities and find just the one thing to either cut out or severely limit the time you're spending there, and be present in the moment. That's really the best present we can give to our families this time of year. And so go find something boring to do.
Yeah, I talked to somebody recently about something was boring, and I thought, man, I wish I had a minute to be bored. Because it just doesn't happen. We fill up so much, like, how do you get bored? And I thought, I would like to have a boring day just to see what that was like again. But like we've been explaining, boring in a good way, right? Slow down, create space, enjoy some good flow in loving relationships through this holiday season.
All right. Well, have a good night. We're going to catch you guys next week.
See you next week.
Bye.